are now plugged into Hooked on Science with Bruce and Tony Kong.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another fantastic episode of Hooked on Sonics. We are your hosts. I'm Bruce over here, and that is Tone Capone over there. This week, we are continuing our series celebrating Black History Month with some of our favorite African American artists from all kinds of different genres, and this week is no exception. This week, we are going to discuss Parliament's Mothership Connection and the Isley Brothers album. What was it, Tony? What was it? I can't remember.
Eternal.
Eternal. Anyway, and that was my pick that I gave him. What the heck? Anyway, we got all that. Lots to get into with that. Music news. Lots to go over there. Obviously some drinks to talk about, but before we get into that, we need to know one thing. Tone, how are you?
Good evening. I am
Good
fine.
evening.
I am doing good. Just been a busy day, man. You ever had your day kind of planned out and all of a sudden something kind of gets thrown in or a couple things happen and it throws your whole day off? And then that's kind of where I was today. So I didn't really get a chance to sit down and review this album.
Well, this is going to be a pretty short show.
No,
I
I'm
didn't
just kidding.
listen to it.
I'm just kidding. I actually just got done a couple hours ago. But yeah, just my day got kind of thrown off, man. I've been trying to figure out some settings on my computer for just some audio recording stuff that I'm working on. But other than that, yeah, just same old,
Yeah,
man.
very cool. What have you been listening to this week in any of your free time?
Um, I haven't been in the car a lot, so listening to, trying to find something for you to listen to, and I really wanted to throw something good in your ear this week. Um, I started to do a dive on the Delphonics, but got busy.
Mm-hmm.
So I was listening to the first Delphonics album, and and another great classic R&B soul album. I was listening to some Church of Misery today. Listening to some Heavy Temple. I was listening to a lot of hip hop this week, man. A lot of hip hop, some Easy E, just because the show has kind of taken a direction over in that era, and I was just just kind of seeing if there was anything particular that I wanted to give to you there, and it actually helped me find something because I on one of my USB sticks I roll around with, I have nothing but rap and hip hop, and this actually kind of helped me go, you know what? Oh yeah, it's also got soul and R&B on it, but I think I got a good album for you. I'm looking forward to reviewing the album you gave me. What have you been listening to?
Well, let me tell you, I was kind of doing the same thing. I was trying to. So after this week, we've got two more picks, I believe, for this month. So I was trying to finalize the last two albums I was going to give you. I'm pretty sure I've got the last one down for you, but always subject to change. Um, was listening on a separate note. I was listening to a lot of Dale Watson, um, a lot of Joe Rogan podcasts, and of course, I had to listen to some more funkadelic stuff because I really enjoy their work. I listen to a little bit more Parliament too, so
Yeah.
just to kind of see, okay, how's this stack up to the other stuff? So,
So
um,
did it make sense when I told you like funkadelic was more along the lines of psychedelic rock, and
yeah, no, yeah,
and then Parliament was more along the lines of uh, R&B soul funk type thing,
yep, yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely get into that as we walk through that. So, but yeah, that's definitely kept me busy. for sure. Oh, by the way, I started listening to another audiobook by Dave Grohl. I forget the name of the book off the top of my head, but it's Dave Grohl's like autobiography, and it's fantastic so far. Fantastic.
Nice.
What an interesting dude.
I wonder if he talks about that whole incident with Courtney.
I haven't got there yet.
I wonder, I'd want to hear his take on that.
Yeah. No, I can't.
We knew her. We knew her take on it.
Yeah.
She made that very apparent. Yeah, cool, man, cool. What are you drinking this evening?
Well, this again was brought to me by my friend Alex Oaks. Shout out to Oaksy. This is by 6 Point Brewery.
It's a Pilsner.
It is a Pilsner. Pills, to be exact. It's called the Crisp, and it is out of Brooklyn, New York.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Cool.
And probably made with New York water.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know why that did that.
So we're going to give that a 1.0?
No shit. That's about all I got to drink off the damn thing. All right. Wow. I swear I haven't even touched this thing other than to get it out of the fridge. Here we go. One more.
Right.
Got a lot of head on that. That's good. That's really good. I kind of compare it. I kind of compare it to Yeehaw Brewery's Pilsner. It's definitely got a sharper taste than say, other Pilsners that are out there. 5.4% alcohol, which is pretty standard for a Pilsner. This is really good. I would definitely check more of this out. I'll give it a 4. It's not the best thing I've ever had in the world, but I'm not disappointed in it.
Nice.
Give it a 4. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I've only got half a beer left, but
Good.
Yeah. What about you, my friend? Pondering on it?
Well, I am having a wonderful Members Mark water. No. And the big glass beside me. Been kind of sipping on this bourbon and lemonade, classic drink that you and I both know we love.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this has the very old Barton in it.
Okay.
Crack that bad boy open, and this is a 100 proof bourbon, handcrafted bourbon. It is a very cheap bourbon, but in my personal opinion, if you have access to it, it is the best bargain bourbon on the
market. Okay.
And it rates in my top 5 bourbons because it would be, if it was readily available to me all the time, this would be my go-to cheap bourbon.
Interesting.
Amazing. It is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second while I take a sip of this drinking.
You go ahead.
So look, man, I'm gonna tell you what.
Tell me.
I'm gonna give it a 5 all day long. If it falls in my top 5, it's probably a 5. And it's a great mixer. It's a great sipper. It is a wonderful, wonderful bourbon. I have not tried the other offerings in the 80, 90 proof or whatever, but the 100 proof go with it, man. If you run across that, I can't remember the exact price on it. It's really, really cheap. You can get a liter, 1.75 liter, I think for right around 20, 30 bucks, 25, 30 bucks maybe. I'm actually using one of those for my infinity bottle, but this thing is it's a tasty beverage. It's a tasty beverage. 5.0. Oh, a very old
Very
Barton.
Cool. Very old Barton. Okay.
Cool, man. Cool.
Yeah, man.
Well, let's talk some news, man. I think we
Yeah,
were just,
now
I think I
we
saw over at our friends at Blabbermouth, man, there was a lot of tour stuff going on. And the
huh.
big one they've got up top there is AC/DC announces a 2024 tour.
Now is that just European?
I don't know. It just says announces 2024 tour. Um,
Okay.
let's see. A new lizard species was named after Iron Maiden's Bruce Dickinson. That's interesting to know. Crowbar announces a March-April 2024 U.S. tour. Robert Plant and Alison Krauss announced Can't Let Go 2024 U.S. tour. In This Moment announces God Mode Spring 2024 U.S. tour with Kim Dracula and Mike's Dead. Helmet announces a spring tour in the North American region with the Cro-Mags. Symphony X announces a May-June 2024 North American tour with Heathen. The Mars Volta announces a June 2024 tour as well. Pearl Jam announces Dark Matter 2024 World Tour. If you're a Pearl Jam fan, you may want to get to check that out. Santana and Counting Crows announced Oneness 2024 North American tour. Daltrey scores a #1 at the Active Rock with Artificial, or at Active Rock with Artificial. Let's see here real quick. I know I saw something else. The new Merciful Fate music is on the way. That comes from the bassist Becky Baldwin. Foreigner's Jeff Pilson farewell tour doesn't mean we're going away. Tool fans won't have to wait 13 years for follow-up to Fear Inoculum, so you may want to get over here and check some of these things out. Ozzy Osbourne Black Sabbath touring drummer Tommy Clufetos announces March 2024 tour dates. And let's see. So yes, that is AC/DC tour is a spring/summer 2024 European tour.
Very cool.
So
Did you
good
see
deal.
who's going to be the bass player taking over for Cliff Williams?
Who?
Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses.
Imagine that. These guys are interswapping cats for some reason there.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
That is,
Duff's a great bass player.
yeah.
Super cool dude. So I'm happy for him.
Yeah. I don't see anything else that's worth saying anything about, man. Oh, look, we want to mention this real quick. Ozzy Osbourne, Foreigner, Jane's Addiction among nominees for Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to find out. I'm so over the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I've been a few times, and just this whole general being of it's just all over the place, you know.
Mhm.
And I don't agree with it constantly. From having to notice there, it looks like you got a snaggy new hoodie on there, bud.
Oh,
Snazzy new hood.
yes, sir. We have now got matching Hooked on Sonic's zip up hoodies.
Yeah.
If there's an interest out there, let us know. We might put together a merch order for you. So if there's any interest, leave us a comment, shoot us a text, whatever.
I think the next thing I'm going to order us is T-shirts with the big logo on it.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah,
How's it feel?
Oh, it's very comfortable, very comfortable. And then when we're ready to do that, we'll talk about it off the air, but we can get with Johnny on that and get a good deal. So
really on the T-shirts?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay.
He designs all the logos and orders all the stuff for Lost and Found. So
okay. Nice.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man.
Nice. Yeah. Let's not forget those cats over there. Just real quick, we're going to plug those dudes. Lost and Found Records there in Knoxville, Tennessee. Be sure to check them out if you're into vinyl collections. Once again, that's Lost and Found Records. We want to give a shout out to those cats. We give a shout out to the cats over here in Columbus, Ohio at Used Kids Records and Magnolia Thunder Pussy. If you're into vinyl, go ahead and check those cats out. For the last thing I'd like to mention, if you're into music, please check out your Promo West concert lineup and your cats at the King of Clubs. Those cats are amazing. They've been in business for 2 or 3 years now, man, and they're just really bringing in some talent, man.
Yeah, Kings of Clubs is really taken off, and it's good to see. It's
Yeah.
damn good to see.
Good deal, man. And you said you had some news as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Today we are recording on February the 13th. Some really big happenings on this day. On this day in 2002, the legendary Waylon Jennings passed away. Complications from diabetes. I actually remember when this day happened. I was absolutely devastated. So, let's see. Tennessee Ernie Ford. He is obviously a Tennessee native, uh, huge legend of, the original, country music. One of the original country gentlemen in the world. Had a huge TV show. Um, just a huge influence on generations of people. He was born today in 1919. No longer here. Let's see. Peter Gabriel, happy birthday to him. He was born today, 1950.
Wasn't he the original Genesis singer?
He was. Let's see. Blind Boy Fuller, original American guitarist, blues singer, died today in 1941. And some albums released that was interesting, at least to me. Lucinda Williams. I don't know if you know who that lady is.
The name's
She's an Americana treasure. She released one of her quintessential albums, West, today on 2007. Black Crowes released "Shake Your Moneymaker" today in 1990.
Wow, I remember that. Such a good album.
Oh,
such a phenomenal album.
Fantastic album. Fantastic. Let's see. Black Sabbath released their debut album today in 1970.
Congratulations.
Yep.
Wow.
And last but not least, the Fugees released The Score today, 1996.
That is one of my favorite hip hop albums, man. Are you familiar with that album?
I know I've heard bits and pieces of it for sure.
Man, the whole
but
album
I don't know
great.
if I've listened to the whole thing.
I may end up dumping it on you as something to review sometime. It definitely is probably in my top 10.
Yeah.
May even be in my top. I don't know.
Very cool, man. Very cool. And just one last thing while I see it. Strawberry Fields Forever and Penny Lane was both released today in 1967.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
And that, my friend, is
the news.
The news.
Sorry, man, my phone's going off in the background and
get your shit together. We're recording professionals.
Right. You hear that? Ding, 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 ding. Did you hear that shit?
Nope.
It may come across the recording. Oh, cool, man. Well, let's get into reviewing these albums, man. What do you got? What you want to do? You want to go first? You want me to go first?
Yeah, you know what? I think you went first last time. So I'll just go ahead and start the festivities off. So
let's kick it, man. And so you had Parliament.
Mm-hmm. The Mothership Connection. Yep. Yes, sir. This was released December 15th, 1975 on Casablanca Records. So they were
label mates with Kiss.
That's right. And this was their fourth album released by Parliament. So some interesting notes about this album that I did not know. It was their first album to be certified gold and platinum. It was added to the Library of Congress for essential albums.
Wow.
Yep. Peak Billboard 200 was at number 13. And their peak on the U.S. R&B charts was number 4. Yeah. So this is a very Influential, very legendary album for the genre, and it definitely influenced a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
I will say this: I I didn't know how to take this album at first. I had a hard time getting through it the first couple times
Oh, that's horrible to hear, man.
because the stylings of Parliament is different than Funkadelic. And we kind of talked about this a little bit off the air. I am definitely more of a Funkadelic guy. I love more of the guitar work. I love kind of that psychedelic-y stuff that Funkadelic's known for. Now, obviously, having said that, after really giving this a good, I don't know, probably 6, 7 listens, I get it. Not every one of these songs for me are A's, but yeah,
It's
this is
such a
definitely
it's a good album, dude.
it's a really good album.
Um,
Now here's where it might be a controversial take for me. I don't think it's Parliament's best album, but it's definitely a very worthy album to be added to anyone's collection if you're into this kind of music. This is a must have.
oh yeah.
So, Bootsy Collins, super strong on this album. His bass lines are all over this motherfucker.
Was he on the Mothership?
Yep,
Yeah, I thought he
he
was.
was. Yep, and I think he even had some vocals on a couple of tracks. I think so. Let's start off with the P Funk, who wants to get funked up.
Oh,
That
go
is,
for it.
yeah, absolutely. I gave this one a B.
What?
Yep.
Ah,
I thought it went on a little too long.
it was jamming, dude. See,
It's fine.
that's something you got to
Yeah.
understand is P Funk jams, dude.
Yep. Yep. It was fine. It wasn't great. I enjoyed it. I ended up liking it a lot more as I was listening to it. You know, the more listens, but you know, wasn't out of the park for me. The second track, Mothership Connection, um, brought to you by Star Child. Star Child. Again, I gave this one kind of a B. I it's just
Damn,
it wasn't
man,
strong. It
that's
wasn't a strong.
brutal. Those are two of the strongest songs on the album for me.
I
I love
disagree.
that album.
Yeah. So I was already, and when like I said, when I first started listening to this, I was like, ugh. I almost gave him like C's and D's. Like it wasn't clicking with
Oh,
me. It
dude.
wasn't clicking. So, but again,
I still
it
don't
grew
feel
on
like
me.
it's
And
clicking.
no, it clicks because I'm about ready to tell you, on Funky UFO fucking slaps. Loved it.
Not
Gave
one
it
of
an
my
A.
favorites on the album.
Huh?
Not one of my favorites on the album, but go
That's
ahead.
interesting. Yep. And let's see if I can say this without screwing it all up. Super groovalistic cross. Yep, screwed it up. Prosifuncation.
Go ahead.
I give it an A just because I got through the damn title.
Uh-huh.
No, super cool groove on this fucking song. I gave that an A as well. Uh, Handcuffs, fucking funnier than hell song. You couldn't really make this
That's on your
song.
mama.
Yeah. Any song that's has the line in it, um, barefoot and pregnant, get barefoot and pregnant. I'm going to keep you handcuffed to, yeah. I don't think I can get away these days, but super funny. I think there's a line in there that says, "Yeah, call me chauvinistic, whatever."
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just funny. It's just a funny song, and if you actually listen to it, you can definitely tell it's tongue in cheek shit.
yeah.
Um, No women were harmed in the making of this song. So
that we know of.
that we know of. Nothing reported. Gave that one an A. Solid song. And then their first million selling single, Give Up the Funk. Who's got the funk? We got the funk. If you've never heard this song in your life, you've obviously lived under a rock.
Yeah.
This thing has been on so many different movies, TV shows, compilations. This is an absolute classic, all-time great funk song. Simple, but man, just fucking groovy. Gave it an A+. Love that. And then only 7 songs on this album, so then it ends up with Night of the Pumpasaurus People. Gave that an A as well. I absolutely loved it. It's mostly a instrumental, and
I'm a little bummed
cool.
out. You gave those first 2 tracks.
Yeah.
Did you review Star Child?
Yeah, gave it a B.
So I'm a little bummed out that you gave those first few a B, like the first 2 or whatever a B, because like, dude, that groove sets the pace going into the album. Like, make my funk the P-funk. I wants to get funked up. Make my funk the P-funk. And dude, I've seen them perform it every time.
Yeah.
And it is absolutely amazeballs, dude. That's when you know you're in the shit. Like, your interplanetary spunksmanship is about to be bestowed upon you. And these dudes, they're notorious in 4. The show is booked at 8. It is 9:30. These fuckers are still not on. They take stage whenever the fuck they feel like it. Get the shit together, they go out there, and you have this massive group of madness going on stage. And it is just a blast. And the greatest thing about this shit, dude, is that fucking there are people of all races, creeds, colors, backgrounds at these shows, because this transcends all people. It's just that type of music. It's a world music.
Yeah.
And I think the world could really learn something going to a part of this.
Yeah.
And that's why I've always been a fan, dude. I've seen them like 7 times.
Yeah. And now that George is retired, I mean, at least listen to the albums, man. I mean, they're an experience. They're an absolute experience. And again, we're one nation under funk.
One of the smartest things they can do, and I don't know if it works in their favor at this point in time, but as they label themselves as the, George Clinton and the P-Funk All-Stars. The P-Funk All-Stars can be whoever they want it to be. It's a band. They can swap people in and out of it. The P-Funk All-Stars can go on forever. And you will always be able to hear this music. Because like the original guitar player who played Maggot Brain is not doing Maggot Brain live. He's gone. He's dead. But the people they end up having do it.
Yeah.
So it's still one of the most beautiful things. Dude, I break down every time I see it live.
So do you think now that George is retired, he's done, do you think they will continue?
I'd like to see them do so. I personally would like to see them do so. Do I think they will? I think there's a possibility. I think anything's possible, but being that they're all talented musicians, I wouldn't per se discount the idea of them showing up in other prominent great bands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say all in all, I thought the cover was pretty cool. Nothing too fancy, but just fun.
So
again,
can I share something with you about the cover? I don't mean to interrupt. Back in the day, dude, when they would do live shows, they would have a spaceship on stage that would open up and they'd come. Have you read about this or seen anything
Yeah,
on
I
it?
did read about it. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. It's just
No, you're fine. No, you're fine. So, um, all in all, it's a solid album. Um, it's a fun album. I mean, I can't state that enough. It's such a fun album, but I don't think it's their best work.
What do you think is?
I think the Funkadelic shit is way better.
Yeah, but do you
Me.
compare the Funkadelic stuff to Parliament stuff? Because
Yeah,
it is two different styles of music.
yeah, I listened to another Parliament album, and I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. And I think it was their first one. I think it was their first one. And man, I got it. I got it a lot more. So, and again, I'm not trying to shit on this album because there's not really a whole lot to shit on it. It's just kind of like, I enjoyed it. So ultimately, I'm gonna give this thing an 8.
Yeah.
I'm gonna continue to listen to more of the Funkadelic side of it. I'll peek into a little more Parliament stuff, but that's just my personal taste on it.
Can you name a better funk album?
Pure funk, no, off the top of my head, but it's not my main style. It's not my main genre. So I would just try to be pulling something out of my ass. I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Would you say Fair and Safely Enough? It's one of the best funk albums you've ever heard. We will continue once you are grooved.
Yeah, it's up there. It's not the best thing I've heard though.
Dude, it made it into the Library of Congress, dude.
I get it. And again, I completely understand the importance and the gravity of this album.
Yeah.
I respect the hell out of it.
Yeah.
But
well, me personally, it's a solid 10 for me. I think back.
Okay.
So
there you go.
It's just one of my personal favorite albums. It's like if somebody said you got 100 albums to sit on now on a Desert Dessert Rising, it'd be in there for sure.
Okay.
And 100 albums would be very hard for me to pick from.
Yeah.
Knowing how big my music collection is. Cool.
100 albums. Man, that'd be fun. Man. Yeah, let's work on that list.
That might make an episode.
Maybe.
That might make an episode.
Yeah.
100 albums. I think we should be stricter and go 50.
Could.
You know what? That'd be a good episode to do with guys.
Yeah.
Call the guys that would say, you know what? But we'd have to shorten it. We'd have to go top 25 albums.
Well, depending on how many people you got, 10. Top 10.
Ooh, 10's tough, dude. 20.
I know it is. That makes it fun.
20.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. Let's before we get into that list, let's get to this album right here.
All right. I had the Isley Brothers Eternal, I believe this was 2001 from what I had saw. I saw that R. Kelly appeared on the only track that was actually a single, and unfortunately, I don't think it was just a single because they actually did a video, I believe, for Secret Lover. And I think there may have been possibly another single that was done on here. But I do know that Contagious was a single, and it appeared R. Kelly was on there and helped produce it. With that being said, this album had 14 tracks. This is a R&B soul style album. There's a first thing I want to mention that stands out across this album is 100% unequivocally whoever is doing the guitar work on this album. If it's just one guitar player or multiple guitar players, kudos to you guys, man. Amazing, amazing guitar. I wonder what it is you're using. Is there a synth? Is there something going on there that I don't have on my pedal board or I'm not familiar with, something I don't use? Because the guitar tone and the it's just a really good vibe, and I really liked it. I like the guitar tone on this album overall.
Yeah, so real quick, Ernie Isley, the lead vocalist, is also the lead guitar player.
Well, dude, I'm just going to tell you, amazing,
Yeah.
amazing guitar work. I really like his guitar work. It's different, and if I was a little more familiar with the Isley brothers, I would know his guitar DNA because he's got a very unique style and a very unique tone. That tone is a tone something else. With that being said, first track, "Move Your Body." This was a good opener. Was it a great opener? No, this was not a great opener. But to prepare you for the album, it's a good opener. I gave this song a B. Not exactly my favorite track on the album. Contagious. I can understand completely track number 2, Contagious. I can understand completely how this became a single. It's got R. Kelly on it. I'd imagine he did some of the production on it. It's a very well produced song. The song is absolutely amazing, and it definitely gets an A from me. An A all day long, a solid A at that. So I just want to say that. Warm Summer Night. This one had a really good groove, man. I really dig this one. So I gave this one an A as well. You Deserve Better. And it just kind of reminded me of your average R&B soul tune, man. Just nothing really stood out to it for me. I liked the general gist of it. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't just like, yeah, I gotta hear that again. Would I skip it? Probably not. I mean, to be very honest with you, there really isn't a skippable track on this album. There's, this whole album, you'll see. I'll get to the end of that here in a second. Just like this. This is where I really started breathing in the guitar. And I remember I put down here cool guitar work on it. But I gave it the B. And, still it kind of reminded me of your average R&B soul style song. And not good, not great, not bad, but it's pretty good. I heard it on the radio. It wouldn't say, God, turn that shit off. It's just there, right? Secret Lover. Great song. I'm not 100% sure about the singles. It looked like Contagious was the only single that was released. Secret Lover was the B side of that single, I believe. And man, it's just a great song. Once again, song number 7, You're All I Need. I gave this an A as well. The guitar synth sound again, man. Absolutely something I love about that. Is it a guitar player? Is it a guitar hooked up to a synth pedal or something like that? Or is it a synthesizer? What is that sound? That sounds so really prominent and cool. Settle Down. I gave this an A. Song 8. I gave this an A. My only quarrel with this was it was long. Like certain R&B songs, they'll get through all the main vocal part, and then you just have the beat, and maybe somebody in the background doing some light singing, and then the prominent voice comes in and gives a few something along those lines. And sometimes when they drag that out, sometimes it's a little too long for me. That was my only quarrel with the song. Otherwise, it's an A. Eternal, longest song on the album. I gave this an A, and even though it was the longest song on the album, it really didn't feel like the longest song on the album.
It didn't feel eternal,
right? But the one thing I gotta say about this, and I need you to understand this, okay? There's a panning effect on this song. If you have not listened to this song underneath headphones, a good pair, I've got a nice little pair of Samsung buds. I usually listen to the album. I don't know why that's so greasy. It's disgusting. Anyways, I have a good pair of Samsung earbuds. I stick in everything. I can hear everything really good, really crystal. I can set settings up and down as I wish. But man, let me tell you something. The panning effect in this song made me absolutely fall in love with the song because in the beginning it's really prominent, but throughout the song, there are areas where it becomes underneath, like in the layers, and you hear the panning going on, and it's so awesome. And they do it with part of the vocals in one section of the song as well. And I'm just like, man, I fucking dig that song. So that was a high A for me, man. That was a really, really cool. Keep in mind, it is the longest song on the album, but that panning effect is so cool in your ears. And I've always been a fan of that. So kudos to the engineer on that one. If You Leave Me Now, this is a cover of a Chicago song. And I'm not a big Chicago fan. I never really have been. I'm not a big Peter Cetera fan. Never really have been. No disrespect. Wonderful group, wonderful singer, great people, I'd imagine. Wonderful to see live. I just never was a fan. My dad was a bigger fan. I gave this a B, man. For a cover, I felt like it really strayed from the original. It didn't sound quite close to the original, and it was so far removed from the original version of "If You Leave Me Now, You Take the Biggest Part of Me." It just, oh, like it just, this version did not work, knowing how I felt about the other version and understanding the other version. Once again, I'm not a Chicago fan, but to listen to this as a cover version, didn't care for it as much. No disrespect, nice attempt. A B, not a horrible song, just wasn't for me. Would I skip it? Probably not, because once again, there's not a skippable track on the album. It's just a solid little album all the way through. Said enough. I gave this an A, and I really want to point something out. It appears Jill Scott on that. Jill Scott is on this track.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I remember Jill Scott when she dropped the "Let's Take a Long Walk Around the Park After Dark," and I fell in love with that song. It was so groovy, so cool, and she had such a great big personality just throughout the whole video, and I absolutely fell in love with her vocally and as a human being. And I didn't know anything about her. I just absolutely fell in love with the song. I'd like to explore more of her music, like Erykah Badu, because there's just certain stuff like that I would love to explore more of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe some old Mary J. Blige and stuff that I really didn't take a chance and listen. And where I'm in the headspace and where I'm understanding more about music, I would like to dive into it a little more. So yeah, I gave that an A. You didn't see me. Once again, an average R&B track to me, but I gave it a B. It's a good track. There's nothing wrong with it. Not skippable by any means. And then we get to my favorite track. This right here, Ernie's Jam. I don't do this often. Very rare you're going to hear me say A++. This song is an A++. This song is a reason to own an album like this. There's enough good material on this album to just let it spin in the background and enjoy it. It may become, one of your favorites in the genre. It may not be. But I'm going to get to that. And then finally, last but not least, Think was the closer. And I listed this as a B as well. A good closer. Nothing horrible about it, but nothing great about it. So I would like to point out a couple things. Move Your Body, good opener, not a great opener. It got a B. Closer, Think, good opener, not an A for me, man. Not a horrible song, but not a bad song. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I got to give it a B. I'm not going to give it a C, because if it was a C, it could end up being skippable. Every so often. So with that being said, this album I gave a lot of B's to. Okay, if I had to say roughly, the split's about 50-50. Okay. Once again, this is an album, if I was to say I wanted to listen to this, I'd just throw it on in the background, because it'd be comfortable music, and there's nothing too offensive or anything like that in it. It's a comfortable album. I did not rate it yet, but I'm at an impasse with this album.
Mm.
To me, it's aside from a couple real standout tracks, this is an average R&B album.
Get out of here. Average.
To me, it is. So, dude, I've listened to enough of this stuff that it just, dude, that's why all the B's. It just feels kind of.
Okay, count up your B's, because I could have sworn you had a shit ton more A's than what you did B.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's almost 50%. 6 out of 14. 6 out of 14.
What?
6
Are
out of
B's
14.
or A's?
6 out of 14. B.
What? B's.
So almost half the album. If it weren't for, let me explain something.
Average.
If it weren't cool, if it weren't for the cool guitar playing or synth thing that was going on in this album, this would have tanked.
What about those vocals?
The vocals
Those
are good.
lyrics.
Listen. There's nothing wrong with the vocals, but if it wasn't for the emphasization of how wonderful the guitar playing was throughout this album, I would not rate it where I'm rating it. And I don't know what to rate it because I'm at a weird impasse. Like, part of me wants to say, to me, this seems like your average R&B album. Is it bad? No. Is it great? No. Is it, it's just like I could put it on in the background, and that means to me an average album, somewhere around 7.5. But part of me goes, I liked it enough that I would check out more Isley Brothers when I had time to do a deep dive. I'm pretty sure I know more of their stuff. Okay, I'm pretty sure.
Well, they've been around for 70 years,
for a ton of fucking years. You know what I mean? So I'd imagine I know more of their stuff. So with that being said, it's very hard. I'm stuck between 7 and an 8. Because an 8 would say I would definitely check these guys out more.
Mm-hmm.
But a 7 says, this is an average album to me, because there's nothing offensive by it. It's just not something I see myself going back to constantly and going, God, I got to listen to this over and over again, or I've got to hear this at least once a week. It's just not, like, R&B soul is not always my go-to thing. It's probably, somewhere along the lines of country. You'll hear it in my car every. Okay. So with that being said, I think it's safe for me to be saying I was originally going to give it a 7, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a 7.5. Just because there's a very big possibility. Well, I wouldn't say big. There's a possibility I may check out. Now, do you own a lot of Isley Brothers stuff?
No.
Okay. But
no.
do you own this album?
Digitally.
Okay. But this is an album that you find very strong to you, and even though you don't own a bunch of stuff from them, this is a very good album.
Right. So Rhea actually, this is one of Rhea's favorites, and she's the one that suggested this album, and we was listening to it, and I was like, to your point, like, it kind of blends together. Like, it's a great, to me, this is a absolutely great album to have in the background while you're getting it on. Every bit of this fucking album is an absolute panty dropper. Absolutely.
Oh, this is it's a great background album like that, and completely understand that, respect that all the way. But let me make this fucking perfectly clear. Take a look at, I think the only rating that it has over at Wikipedia is a 3 out of 5 stars.
Mm-hmm. Well, so, it was number 3 Billboard, number 1 R&B charts.
And I'd imagine so. I'd imagine so, because it's the Isley Brothers. They've been around. It was probably a while from their last release. And bada bang, bada boom, here we got something with the Isley Brothers, and R. Kelly's on it too.
Yep, and it was nominated for a Grammy. Yeah, this thing fucking slaps.
I'm not listen,
for me. For me, this is a 10 all day.
Okay, I can understand and respect how somebody could give it a 10 if they were really into this genre.
Mhm.
I have no no disregard for this genre. Please understand, I love this genre, but it's just not something I go to all the time, and I'm not very versed.
I get that. Me neither.
Like I was sitting there trying to figure out what I wanted to give you. Like I want to give you a Genuine album, but do I sit down and listen to all the Genuine albums? No, I listen to his greatest hits because I didn't get into a bunch of his stuff. When I sit down and listen to other R&B artists like Escape and TLC and stuff like that, um, it's more likely their greatest hits, man. The album that had Waterfalls on it probably was a great album all the way through, and I probably listened to it a dozen times because of the girls I dated. But at the end of the day, you know, it's just not a go-to genre for me. Do I think it's a horrible album? If I thought it was a horrible album, it would have got much lower. It was not a horrible album. It is a good album. That's why I'm giving it a 75, what would be considered a 75 out of 100 at 7.5. It's a good album. It's worth the listen. To me, it's worth the listen. Um, and it may warrant, if given time and opportunity, for me to check out more Isley Brothers stuff. The funny thing is we talked about the voices, and there were certain R&B tunes or hip hop tunes that I remember with voices that had those really nice vocal takes on it. And I remember Wu-Tang Clan used the Delphonics. Inspector Deck, I think, it ended up using. I couldn't know. Ghostface ended up using the Delphonics because he was in a shootout with them and shit. But the funny thing is like I said, man, I wonder who those vocal pieces were on one of my favorite albums, which was Havoc and Prodigy, Kick and Game. At some point in time, I'm going to give you this album as a hip hop album because it does fall into my top 10. It's a great album. With that being said, I mean, this isn't a horrible album. I don't want you to take it that I gave it a horrible rating because it's not.
No.
The music's great. For me, it's just one of those albums that I could go, what's that Isley Brothers album Bruce gave me? Oh, Eternal. You know what? Alexa, play this album and just let it spin while I'm cleaning, cooking, or something like that. It's just not an offensive album. It's a great piece of background music for just about anything and everything. There are a few standout tracks on there. There are some really good tracks on there, and then there's some, just some good tracks, But I can't tell you, dude. If I gave it a 9 or a 10, it would fall into a category of something I would need to go download and buy, and I'm not downloading and buying this album.
Fine,
Sorry.
whatever.
Why we do this? Why we do the show, clown?
To show that you're wrong. Brad Paisley mediocre and the Isley Brothers mediocre.
Sorry. That's how, dude. That's how I was feeling. That's the initial take on it, dude.
I love it.
Dude, sorry.
All right, what do you got for me next week?
We don't always agree eye to eye.
Well, listen.
My bad.
Well,
My
listen.
bad. All right. What do you? So we're discussing next week, right?
Yeah.
All right. Albums for next week.
Yes.
Let's hear what you got first, man.
All right. So I have been a fan of this lady for quite a while. When we were kids in West High School, we heard about her. She was the most famous graduate from West High for the longest time, until Michael Redd. And this lady is a absolute legend, and you are getting the pride of West High School, born in Chillicothe, Ohio, Nancy Wilson. And the album is no. And the name of the album is The Nancy Wilson Show.
All right. You ready for my album?
Hit it.
I have had to beat myself in the brain over what albums I'm giving you during Black History Month because I can't say I own a ton or am familiar with a ton of different artists across so many different genres in the Black community. I'd love to know more, but with that being said, going through that memory stick, like I told you, it's my hip hop memory stick. I run across an album that really, really impressed me. I said, you know what? This is an album I'd like to hear Bruce's take on.
Mm.
You are probably familiar with a track or two off this album. It was released in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
There is a movie slash book. The movie was written based on the book called 50 Shades of Grey. This guy did one of the main songs on that soundtrack, and it's also on this album. The name of the song is called Earned It. This was the first time I had heard that guy because I took my wife to go see that movie on Valentine's Day, and every Valentine's Day after, we went to see the other one because Kate was a big fan of the book. I remember hearing this song, and you know what I say, you and I've had this conversation before when we heard a band for the first time or a musician for the first time, and we go, wow, that's going to catch fire. I remember hearing Earned It, and I said, that right there could be the love song or love making song of the year for people, just because it was that good of a song when I heard it. I didn't know who the artist was at the time, but I would later find out who they were through my kids, kind of turned me on to this artist music. I am giving you The Weeknd, Weeknd. There's no END in there. Weeknd, Beauty Behind the Madness. It has been a long time since a full album of the hip hop, R&B, soul genre has engulfed me, enveloped me to the point that I absolutely needed to own the album, and I listen to this thing constantly.
Okay.
This guy,
very cool.
This guy writes all of his own music. He's a hell of a producer, writer, and musician in general. The guy is very, very, very talented, and he's only done with his life. He's tried to do great things for people and organizations and stuff. I really like. I like the guy. I love a lot of his music that I've heard. I'm not current with everything. I won't say that I am, but I will tell you the guy is very good. There's essences of R&B, soul, hip hop, electronic dance, EDM style music. The guy is very, very talented, and the fifth that he writes. The song that you're probably going to be familiar with off this album is "I Can't Feel My Face When I'm With You, But I Love It, But I Love It." That was one of the big hits off this album. And then The Hills was another one, but I'm not going to sing it. I can't remember all the lyrics to it or whatever. But this was a fun album, and I remember hearing it, and it really stood out to me in the last 10 years, because that album was released in 2015. And I'm here to tell you, man, big album, and rightfully so. Huge album. Please take the chance to check it out. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Very, very, very talented young man.
Very cool.
Yeah. Dude, what an episode, man. We did really put it in. You did a fantastic job. I love your hoodie. It looks good on you. Glad you liked the album.
Yeah.
I enjoyed your album as well, man, but just couldn't make an eight. There was just points that I almost fell asleep to it. It was just do you know what I'm saying? Slow down, girl. We're gonna take them panties off and wrap them around your head. You know what I'm saying?
Dude. Hey, this is perfect for tomorrow. Just turn this on.
Yeah, good Valentine's Day album.
Absolutely, that's why I picked it.
I wouldn't disagree with that. All right, folks. Well, with that being said, if you like what you see here, hit that like, comment, subscribe. We want to hear from you, and we're on all your streaming services. Bruce, anything else you want to throw in there?
No, just be good to one another.
Yeah, be good to each other out there, man. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your family and community. Don't hurt children. Don't hurt the elderly. Be a good human being. Be a decent human being. And if you see us, we'll do our best to be a decent human being to you as well.
Well, we'll do what we can.
We're all fallible, right? All right, folks. I'm Tone. Obviously,
I'm Bruce.
Bruce over there. We will see you guys next time around. Have a great evening. We're hooked on Sonics. Out.